What's happening? It's Darian, the mouth of the South Gray, and this week's game of the week is a matchup between the Falcons and the Cowboys. Two teams that are both 0-1, but fan bases feel completely different about it. Cowboys feel like they were robbed. The Falcons have no room to feel that way. But either way, a L is an L. 0-1 is 0-1. And I'm going to give you the matchups and the prediction for this week's game of the week on Point Blank Period.
You can sleep when you die. Point blank, period.
And you know this, man.
Now, if you remember last week when I did the Saints versus the Bucks, all my matchups were basically this guy versus this guy. They're going to face off. How will they respond? Well, this first one for the Cowboys and Falcons is not as conventional. It's Todd Gurley versus Ezekiel Elliott. 2-3 years ago, these guys were fighting for the best running back in the league along with Le'Veon Bell. That's what this was. Now Todd Gurley's with another team. He's having his injuries concerned be lessened, on my side at least. I'm not so worried about him as I used to be. But now I have to focus on this matchup, not just because they're two high-level running backs, but because I'm going to start with Ezekiel Elliott. Because Ezekiel Elliott is going to get the ball. Last week, the Falcons came with a game plan of stopping the run. Unfortunately, they forgot to stop Russ from cooking. So this week, you got to come in with the same game plan. You have to stop Ezekiel Elliott, but at the same time, you have to keep Dak out the kitchen as well. See, Chris Carson only ran the ball 6 times. The Seahawks only ran the ball 20 times in total. Ezekiel Elliott will probably get more than 20 rushes by himself, not to mention what Tony Pollard would do. So with this conversation, it goes, Zeke, you cannot place one person to just stop him. You can't do it. It's too much. So as much as I would like to say Deion Jones, I can't say that because when he's running the ball, you got to get Grady Jarrett in there. You got to get your Takk McKinley, your Dante Fowlers. You have to. You got to get Kazee, Keanu Neal. Everybody has to run to the ball to stop Ezekiel Elliott. So I need Grady Jarrett to start off by wrecking the interior offensive line the same way that Aaron Donald did on Sunday night. That's going to be a key for success. But the reason I want to say Deion Jones is because in the passing game, I see Zeke getting more involved in the passing game. I know he only had 3 catches on Sunday night, but I see him getting more involved, and that's where Deion Jones come into play. One of the best coverage linebackers in the game. He has to make sure that plays like this don't happen. I put it on Deion Jones to make sure that we don't have to see that ugly tattoo that Ezekiel Elliott got. I don't want to see Ezekiel Elliott in the end zone raising up his shirt. And this has nothing to do with who I want to win or who I think is going to win. But I just don't want to see that tattoo. That tattoo is ugly. In my opinion, you need to keep Zeke hungry. You don't want that man getting fed. Point blank, period. So when I look at it from the Falcons side of everything, Todd Gurley only had 14 rushes, but he looked good in those 14 rushes. And I need Dirk Koetter to continue to give him the ball. Attack the interior of the defensive line. Attack that weak linebacking core. The Howler's out with a collarbone injury. Jalen Smith is still struggling to return to his 2018 form. That linebacking core, and Sean Lee always hurt. So that's probably the reason I almost forgot him, because he always hurt. I don't even expect him to be in the game nowadays. But attacking those 2 position groups can provide a lot of success for the Falcons. You look at Gurley, a lot of his good runs, his longest run of the day, I believe, was on an inside run. I think that's where you need to put him. Rush on the inside, attack the linebacking core, and you'll see some more success. Koetter, get him the ball. It's simple. Get the ball in Gurley's hands. And if you want me to go in even more depth, you can check it out in my podcast. I got the link below. I already talked about it in great depth on there. It's much longer than this right here. Now to the next matchup. We're going Takk McKinley versus Terrence Steele. Ask a Cowboy fan, does Terrence Steele need to be the right tackle? I don't know one that will say yes. La'el Collins, IR. Cam Irvin, IR. Terrence Steele is out there out of necessity, okay? And then late in the game, he allowed a sack. Takk McKinley is going into the game with a lot of pressure. Every game this year. It's a contract year. They didn't pick up his 5th-year option, and he's looking like he might be a disappointment. But last week, he came out looking good. He had a sack on the very first play, added 5 pressures to that. And I can't think of a better guy to start your momentum against other than Terrence Steele. Now to my last matchup. It's the Cowboys wide receivers versus the Atlanta cornerbacks. And this is more about the cornerbacks than the wide receivers. I know what Cooper, Gallup, Lamb bring to the table. But with the Falcons cornerbacks last week, Russell Wilson didn't throw into one tight window. He had 35 passes, put the ball in the air 35 times, completed 31 of them, and that's bad enough. But when it comes down to he didn't throw into a single tight window, part of that has to do with Russ being amazing and being very skilled and having a good decision making. But part of that is the fact that the Falcon cornerbacks were not good. 35 times, and not one time you were close enough to the receiver that was being thrown to? That's unacceptable. And I don't care what you think about Dak Prescott. If you think he's great, you think he's terrible. You should not think that Dak Prescott is bad enough to where every time he drops back, and I don't mean any hyperbole, I mean dead serious 100% of the time that Dak Prescott drops back and throws the ball in the air, the cornerback is not close. And if you think he's not going to have a good game with those circumstances, A, you hating on Dak Prescott. B, you're unrealistic. Point blank, period. That cannot happen in any other games that the Falcons want to have success. Now for my prediction. This may seem obvious with the anger that I just had with the Atlanta cornerbacks, but I got the Cowboys winning this game. I could see it being a shootout. But the reason I have the Cowboys winning this game is for two reasons. One, on the offensive side of the ball for them, I think that they could run the ball on this team. I think that they could throw the ball on this team. They're going to have to show me more. They are going to have to show me more. And then on defense, they play a bend but don't break style of defense. And whatever the inverse of that is for the offense, where you continue to bend but you won't break people, that's what the Falcons have done with settling for field goals and going forward on fourth downs in the week 1 matchup against the Seahawks. And if you continue that, you're playing right into the Cowboys' hands, and it's not good. So I got the Cowboys winning. It could be a high-scoring game. Point blank, period.